I would simply reiterate that once the Iranian people will be free, our friends in the region will hear a completely different message and see a completely different attitude and behavior vis-a-vis them. Something that I know they hope. You know, I've been talking all these years. I have many friends from the region, from different countries, Saudis, UAE, Egyptians, Jordanians, Syrians, Iraqis, and so on and so forth. And they all say in their respective way how much they know and they hope that change in Iran will be so good for all of them collectively. How they will be affected. You can ask people in Lebanon when they see what Hezbollah is doing there, or so on and so forth. And they know how different it will be. And I know deep inside that Iranians know that we will be able to once again be proud of our heritage, but also to positively contribute in a healthy, fruitful relationship with our neighbors in peace and in liberty, so we can usher in an era of prosperity that we can all benefit from, as opposed to tensions and conflict that has been essentially what happened since this regime has taken over. So I wish for that. It's not that I wish for that. I know it will happen. I believe we can make it happen. But of course, we hope that our friends in the region will not just be passive bystanders, and will also find ways to see in what way they can help us liberate ourselves, because they can only benefit as a result of it.
How would you characterize your relationship with key members of the GCC?
Well, you know, I think that if you ask leaders of the respective countries of the GCC, particularly if you ask Mohammed bin Salman or Mohammed bin Zayed, and the relationship their parents had with Iran before the revolution, what kind of relationship existed, which was very, I think, fruitful. And it could be much better even in the future. The vision that I have, and I hope we can establish, is that the best national interest of Iran is to be an element of bringing an element of stability and peace. We need to be able to work with our neighbors. We all face, when I say all, I mean Iranians, Iraqis, Saudis, UAE, Egyptians, Syrians, the whole region. We are having collective challenges to face. The water crisis, which is not only isolated to Iran, for example. Elements that could be conducive to economic development and prosperity by having, you know, our own regional, if you will, type markets. We have to be able to have that kind of constructive relationship, which I think is inherently the ask of all the citizens of these respective countries. But the only time we can achieve this is to have absolute, respect, mutual respect for each other's sovereignties, and on that basis come together with a joint project. I would much rather have the important revenue that we have from our resources be spent on welfare, on education, on healthcare, as opposed to buying arms and missiles, pointing it at each other. That's the difference between the Iran that I'm thinking of and its relationship with the GCC, as opposed to this regime, who from the very beginning was aggressive, from the very beginning questioned the legitimacy of the Saudi family to be custodians of the holy mosques, or was antagonistic to Israel and said it has to be wiped off from the face of the earth. That has in fact had been more damaging to the Palestinian cause by using them as a human shield, by helping the Syrians crack down on over 3,000 Palestinian refugees over there and everything else that. So the whole thing will affect our region by a change in Iran. At least that's the vision that I have. And I know that the message that I recently sent, as I understand, was very well received. And this is what they should expect be not just my viewpoint. I'm not speaking only for myself. I know I'm speaking on behalf of millions of Iranians who have the same sentiments and would like to have a future and an opportunity for themselves and for their children. And that's for all of us, not just Iranians, but for all of us collectively.
How did you receive the news of the Saudi-Iranian agreement, and how do you see it after almost 2 years of happening now? Where do you see it?
Well, it was very frustrating for many leaders seeing this indecisiveness or weakness from the US current administration. as I said, this appeasement tactic that certainly was frustrating to many. What do you do in the meantime? You have to operate within a certain realm. I don't think that having some short-term arrangements is the declaration of a complete change of attitude or viewpoints. Nobody's going to come and openly say, well, we don't like what we have right now, but we have to somehow deal with it. On the other hand, I think the long-term vision is different. At least to say, for instance, that when I had the opportunity to meet a few years ago with Mohammed bin Salman when he was visiting here in the States, and we spoke about the relationship that our countries had before the revolution, and his hope that one day we can have the same kind of relationship that has gone sour since the regime came to place. So it's hard for me to imagine that the current situation is actually appropriate. But, you know, in the world of politics and diplomacy, you have to deal with the immediate. But that, to me, is not a definition of an actual vision of the future.